This portion of WTOP TV's election coverage is brought to you by McDonald's Restaurants.
Gordon Peterson here with Max Robinson, Patrick McGrath, Bob Strickland, Mike Buchanan, and David French. We will be here with the local picture at least every half hour from now throughout the evening. CBS and NBC are both saying that President Nixon is on the way to a landslide victory. Both sides were claiming that the heavy turnout turned to their advantage, Max.
Well, Bob Strickland is at the D.C. board. Bob, with a President Nixon landslide predicted and a heavy vote turnout in the District of Columbia, what effect do you feel that'll have on the D.C. delegate race?
Well, Max, it would appear, at least at first glance, that this could be the one place in the country where we might see, or one of the few places in the country where we might see a McGovern landslide. 3/4 of the registered voters in the district are Democratic, 1/4 Republican and Independent. Now, blacks across the country have generally been said to be McGovern voters, and the Republicans pretty well have conceded this. By some Republican estimates, they really don't expect more than an 18% or so black vote. Anything higher than that would be considered to be a highly successful campaign in black communities across the country. And the District of Columbia would appear at this point to be no exception. How about Virginia?
Virginia GOP leaders say that the large voter turnout will put Republican Congressman William Scott in the U.S. Senate. Scott is challenging Democratic incumbent Senator William Spawn. Scott linked his campaign, his positions, and his voting record to support of President Nixon. In the 10th district, Democrat Harold Miller was talking of a low voter turnout, helping him defeat Republican Congressman Joe Broyhill. The Miller campaign was hoping that new voters would turn out and the old established Broyhill voters would sit out the election. All through the campaign, Joe Broyhill, in Congress now for 20 years, has been predicting his greatest victory. And in the 8th congressional district, which stretches from Alexandria to northern Stafford County, the Republican candidate, Stanford Paris, also keyed his campaign on the president's coattail, and he would undoubtedly benefit from a Nixon landslide. Gordon?
Well, Mike, with what may be a record voter turnout in Virginia, Nixon supporters are already talking about the president becoming the first 1 million vote candidate in the history of the state. McGovern supporters, of course, were hoping for a lighter turnout. They were hoping for apathy on the part of the Republicans. WTOP's election coverage will return in a moment.
Gently inside. Then we set it up just where you want it, complete and ready to use. Right down to the smallest detail. You know, some stores want to charge you for delivery service, but not the Hub. How could we? At the Hub, we're full-service furniture stores. We care too much to be anything else.
As we said earlier, it appears, at least CBS and NBC say so, it appears that President Nixon is winning a landslide. And the voter turnout in the area has been very heavy, as it has been in Maryland. Patrick McGrath, how's it affecting that vote?
Well, Max, if President Nixon has some coattails in Maryland, it could affect 2 congressional races, particularly the 4th congressional district race. There is no incumbent congressman in the 4th district. It's a new district, Anne Arundel County, in the southern portion of Prince George's County. Democrat Werner Fornos is running against Marjorie Holt, the Republican. She's the clerk of the Anne Arundel Circuit Court. He is the former member of the state legislature. Fornos has run a very effective campaign, but however, Mrs. Holt got an awful lot of help at the end from Spiro Agnew and a great many Republican candidates, and if there's a coattail effect, Mrs. Holt could pull out a win. One other area in which there may be a coattail effect is in the 2nd congressional district of Baltimore County. That pits Congressman Clarence Long against State Senator Jack Bishop. Congressman Long, usually a strong vote-getter. However, this is Spiro Agnew's county, and if the Republicans win strong, this could be a major upset in Maryland. Gordon?
Well, a reminder that all of the House and 1/3 of the Senate are being chosen at the polls today. Both chambers controlled by the Democrats, of course, in the 92nd Congress. To win control in the 93rd, the Republicans would have to win a net gain of 41 seats. In the Senate, they'd need a net gain of 5 to create a 50-50 split. Okay, with 2 of 1,825 precincts in, President Nixon, way ahead. Max?
We hope to have the first trickle of local returns when we return at 7:53.
This portion of WTOP TV's election coverage was brought to you by McDonald's Restaurants.
From Marlow Heights, Maryland, the Sheehy Ford Singers.
They call it a great used car deal. A money-back guarantee, guaranteed deal.
Buy any used car from Sheehy Ford.
Drive it 3 whole days.
If you're not 100% satisfied, return it undamaged and get your money back from Sheehy Ford.
Yes, Sheehy Ford,
If you judge an airline by its food, you should know that Pan Am is the only airline that has a dining room in first class, and that 13 other airlines serve food prepared for them by Pan Am. Now, if food isn't that important to you, you might want to sleep on this. 24 airlines are now flying their planes with pilots and crews trained for them by Pan Am.
Now you can get discount prices 7 days a week at Safeway. Just one more reason why Safeway is the place to buy.
Television 9.